Hey guys, Johnny B here, and I'm so excited to be introducing you to my new series. And my new series is going to be called Number Ones, and this is my launch episode. Now, the thing is, the inspiration behind this was because I felt that there were a lot of videos that always would talk about the Billboard Hot 100 number ones, but I felt as if it were rude, absolutely rude, to not include the ones from the Hot 100 Airplay, the Top 40 mainstream charts, and also the radio and records charts. Now, that's the one that was hosted by Rick Dees, I believe, and also Casey Kasem used that as his resource for American Top 40, coast to coast. So, I just wanted to be all-inclusive here, so I thought that I would cover each number one song from each of those charts when applicable. So anyway, I thought let's just get right into it. And you won't believe it. The first artist that we're going to be talking about is Michael Bolton. Now, this was 1990, so the pop landscape was quite different back then. Now, technically, the first number one hit of the 90s was Phil Collins' Another Day in Paradise. But I will not be talking about that one in this decade because it first hit number one in the 80s. So I'll save it when I decide to cover that decade. But anyway, let's get right into Michael Bolton's How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? Now, a little background about Michael Bolton's How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? It was written by Michael Bolton. It was co-written by him. But it was first recorded by Laura Branigan, the girl who sang Self-Control and Gloria. Love her. She was great. But it wasn't that big of a hit for her. It was a number one hit on the adult contemporary charts for her back in 1983, but it only hit number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. And also there was some lawsuit that was involved, later in the decade, but we don't have to get into all that. But Michael Bolton decided to record this song for his album, Soul Provider. I do have the vinyl copy here, y'all. So, if you want to give Michael Bolton some love, I recommend it. I do. He's got a soulful voice, he does. And Michael Bolton's version, however, when Michael Bolton became popular, he had that line mane that, 40 to 50-year-old women, they just swooned for it. They were just swooning for it all over. If you really wanted to get a 40 or 50-year-old woman going, just play some Michael Bolton. They were all about it. But Michael Bolton's voice, of course, it's very, he's like, how am I supposed to live without you? He's saying, kind of similar to, Cher or Michael McDonald had this kind of not lying kind of vocals that he would just do. And, but that's just what the women loved back then. They seriously did. And, it's got a good emotional delivery. It's got those little twinkly little, synthesizers that were everywhere with adult contemporary songs. Because this also was a number one adult contemporary song. This hit number one on the Billboard Hot 100, Radio and Records, and Hot 100 Airplay. Now, the Top 40 mainstream chart wasn't a thing back then. So, this was a trifecta, okay? So, this was a number one hit across the board. And, of course, its music video was quite generic. It just had, Michael Bolton, just singing in front of the camera, sitting on a chair. But also there was a little story involving, a hot little blonde girl in the music video. And there was a scene where she was, walking in, serving him breakfast or lunch or something on a tray. And she was wearing, how like in the 90s that, women would wear those dress shirts that their husbands had or their boyfriends had or whatever, and it would just barely cover their underwear. She was definitely donning that. But also there was some tension between them in the video. Seriously, they got into it later. She took this cup and she just threw it across the room. That was just mean. Geez. I didn't want to be involved in that confrontation, let me tell you. But nonetheless, Michael Bolton, he definitely delivered on this song. It was one of his biggest songs. And you know what? I feel for him. I really, really did feel for him. So you know what? That's what I got to say about Michael Bolton's How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? The very first number one hit of the 1990s. You better stick around because we got some other great songs to talk about. I'm Johnny B, and I'm out.